Hello, how are you? Can you tell me how you are? So, today we're going to talk about direct and indirect questions. But before we start, before I explain to you what they are, what they mean, and how you can use them, I want to give you two examples so you can see the difference between the direct and the indirect questions. The first question is, where's the school? Where's the school? This is a direct question. To change this into the indirect question, it would be like this. Do you know where the school is? Do you know where the school is? And also I have a second question. What's your name? This is a direct question. And when I turn it into an indirect question, it comes like this. Can you tell me what your name is? Can you tell me what your name is? So, these are two direct questions, and these are two indirect questions. But what are direct and indirect questions? The direct questions are more informal questions, and they are usually used in casual conversations or when you want a quick answer. On the other side, the indirect questions are usually used in more formal situations or when you want to be polite. So every time you are in a formal context and you need to be polite, you need to ask questions politely, it's better if you use the indirect question. But how can you form indirect questions? You will need two types of questions. You will have two types of questions. You can ask questions when you want an open answer, or you can ask questions when you want a yes or no answer. Let's start with questions for open answers. To create indirect questions for open answers, we will have two parts. The first part is some sentences that you will need to put in the beginning of the indirect questions. For example, do you know? Can you tell me? So here I will give you a few sentences and you can use all of them. So I will read these sentences and I want you to repeat after me. Can you tell me? Do you know? Would you mind? Do you have an idea? I forgot to put the 3 dots here. 1, 2, 3. Would it be possible? Would it be possible? So, to create an indirect questions, first you will need to use one of these sentences. You can choose any of them. And after, you will need to put the second part of the indirect questions. That is the question itself, but in the affirmative form. For example, when you put as a question, a direct question, in the question form, you need to put the verb do at the beginning. For example, do you have a brother? Or another example, can you name an object? Or you need to put, if it's a question with the verb be, you need to put the verb be at the beginning. Is your sister around? Is your sister around? So every time I create a question, this is the formula of the question. I need to put the modal verb at the beginning. I need to put do at the beginning of the question, or I need to put the verb be at the beginning of the question. But as we are creating an indirect question, in the second part, the question doesn't need to be in the question form, it's gonna be in the affirmative form. It means that you don't need to put the verb be at the beginning, you don't need to put the verb do at the beginning, you don't need to put the verb can at the beginning. It's gonna be a normal affirmative sentence. For example, as a question, how old are you? And in the affirmative form, how old you are. So if I pick one of these base sentences and put in the beginning, I can create an indirect question. For example, can you tell me how old you are? So this is an indirect question. Or another example, where is your family? Where is your family? It's a direct question. But if I change where your family is, where your family is, it's gonna be in the affirmative form. So after this, I only need to pick one of these base sentences. I can say any of them. See, can you tell me where your family is? Do you know where your family is? Do you have an idea where your family is? So you create an indirect question. Do you have an idea where your family is? So that's how you create indirect questions. You only need to put one of these base sentences, and after you can put the question itself in the affirmative form. But if you want to make indirect questions with yes or no answers, it's going to be a little bit different, but just a little. See, for the base, the only difference is that you will need to put if with the base. At the end of the base, you need to put if, like this, or whether. The meaning of these words are the same thing. It means se, em português. Se. Do you know whether? Você sabe se. Do you know if? Você sabe se. I wonder if. Você sabe se também. Okay? So, you can use any of this. For example, can you tell me if? Can you tell me whether? Do you know if? Or do you know whether? Do you have an idea if? Or do you have an idea whether? Or I wonder if. It's not possible to use it. Would it be possible, or would you mind, with indirect questions for yes or no answers. Okay, so let me put these here so you can see better which ones you can use. So perfect. So these are all the base sentences you can use to create an indirect questions for yes or no answers. Okay, and the second part will be the same thing. On the second part of the question must be in the affirmative form. It doesn't change. So the only difference is that you need to put if or whether after the base sentence. And here are some examples. Has the meeting started yet? So this is a direct question. And the person could answer with yes or no. But if I want to be more polite, and if I want to ask this in the indirect question, I would say, the meeting has started yet. So I changed the has and put it here. Has the meeting started yet? The meeting has started yet. And then we pick one of these and we create the indirect question. Do you know if the meeting has started yet? Was my project approved? My project was approved. Do you have an idea whether my project was approved? Do you still think of me? You still think of me. I wonder if you still think of me. and then the person can answer with yes or no. So I hope you understood this content, and now I want you to practice with some activities. First, I have a video where you can practice your listening. So on this video, you're gonna have two steps. Okay, first, you're gonna listen. Just listen to the conversation on this link. After, you click on these different link, and on this link you have the same conversation, but it's gonna be a little bit different because you will have the subtitle to repeat. So you're gonna listen and then repeat. So click on the first link, listen to the conversation. Click on the second link, listen and repeat. After, you're gonna do the exercise as usual, okay, on live worksheets, and send me. And after, it's your turn to create your own questions. First, you're gonna create questions in the direct question form, and then you're gonna turn these questions into indirect question form. And I want you to make at least 6 questions. Okay, so that's it. I hope you liked it and I hope you understood. And see you next class. Bye bye.